Hello, hello. I'm back. Hello, hello. We're back to true crime again, per usual. Happy Saturday. Thank you for being here. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. We're covering Emily Pike today. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this case. It's brutal. It is brutal. But hello, welcome. Good to see everyone. I saw Tipsy in here. Hello, Tipsy. I saw Widow, Patty. Hello, Killer Swag number 7. Hi. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. I am really excited to talk about this case because it definitely needs more awareness. Let me know if you guys see me and hear me okay and we're all good. I recently came across it. I've seen it. There's a lot on it on YouTube and online, but I just recently got the police report actually this morning, the missing persons report. I'm not sure if that it was already out, but we're going to go through this. This is about Emily Pike. So if you don't know who she is, and if you're new to my channel, hello, welcome. We cover, yes, she was Indigenous. We cover all true crime here. And when we do kind of like a deep dive, we basically just hit on every aspect of it. So I'll explain a little bit about who Emily was. We'll talk about what happened on the night of January 27th. We'll talk about our ideas and opinions and our theories. We will read the police report. We will watch a bunch of clips. So I have quite a few clips, but they're all like 2 minutes. And we're going to talk about the group home where she was staying. And everything here is just my opinion only, my research. I will link everything in the description where I got all the information on all the clips if you are interested. And let's get started. Emily Pike. Hello, Smog Dog. I'm going to pull it up on my screen, but I'm reading it off another screen. So let's hope this works out pretty well. Hey, 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗲, or is it Braze? My bad. Hello, Pantera. Thanks. Thanks for being here. Okay, so let me pull up. I have a PowerPoint. I do just want to say before we get started as well that my heart and my condolences go out to the Pike family and her mother, Steph. I definitely agree. We're going to talk about it all in just a second. My bad. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't know what just happened. Give me a second. I accidentally, oops. Sorry, Smog Dog. I didn't mean to do that. I am so sorry. My StreamYard's is kind of tripping out, so let me know. Let me know. Nice. Okay. So who is Emily Pike? The Indigenous women do need more media coverage. I agree. So Emily Pike was born on May 16th, 2010. She's a 14-year-old Indigenous girl who is shy but quirky. She's artistic and she loves Roblox and K-pop music. She excelled in school and she used to be a veterinarian or something to do with art, the art field. She liked art, painting, etc. She was very creative. Like I said, she liked painting and she had a dream of attending college. Per people that know her, they say that she was kind and full of life, and her family describes her as a happy, caring, and gentle soul. She is from the San Carlos Apache Tribe. She was raised by a tribal community, but ended up in the foster care system. I don't necessarily know if it's considered the foster care if she's in a group home. Is that foster care? It's different, right? But I'm not sure what that's about. I couldn't dig up that much information on it, but I do know she was she went missing from the group home. So she did have people who care about her, clearly her family, and a future that was waiting for her, right? She had a whole life ahead of her. She was only 14 years old. I have my opinions about why Emily was in a group home, and there's very little on it, and I don't believe that her family has necessarily stated, and I'm not here to blame anyone in particular. I'm here to give my opinion and based off of the research, but I do think that things need to be questioned, right? And that's where, if you see something, say something. And if you, I'm not saying that her family had any involvement, of course, I don't believe that. But I think once you get the details of the case, you start to question a lot of what's going on around her, right? She was living in the group home at the time of her disappearance, and it was a at-risk youth in Mesa, Arizona. Her reservation was 140 miles from Phoenix, Arizona. So she was quite far from where she wanted to be, right? But she was in this care home. Allegedly, it has to do with, I believe, the mental health access, and that's why she was in the care home. Hi, Jules. Good to see you. I feel bad. Sorry, smog dog. I want to make sure I didn't block him. So on the screen, we have, this is Emily Pike. This is one of the flyers and the missing runaway juvenile flyer. And this is a bit of what's frustrating. So they first thought she ran away. And there's history of that, which we will touch on, but I feel like the idea that that she had run away delayed a lot of what could have been done in the time of figuring out what happened to Emily. I can see why they believed she was a runaway, but I don't think they should automatically off the bat assume that. And by they, I mean law enforcement. And so they did think she was a missing runaway, which we don't know. Maybe she is, but maybe she wanted to run away back home, to go back home from the care home. I don't think she was thinking like, want to run away from my family or my life. I mean, she was in a care home. And the way that the whole crime happens, it makes me think that, clearly it wasn't planned. She didn't know who she was around. But she is so cute, and she's 14 years old. She was living at the group home on January 27th when she vanished from the group home. So she was under the supervision of the tribal social services. So it's different from entities that we deal with because it is a tribal community. And then this, when she went missing, this plays a big factor, right? Because the way things get reported is differently than just your normal situation. There's tribal police, they have their own system, legal system, and they have their own police, and it's a whole different sector of law enforcement. And so I also think this plays a factor into how long she was missing before anything was done about it, right? So she goes missing from the group home where she was staying in Mesa, Arizona. It is alleged that she had been there a few times for short periods, starting in 2023. So I also question that, right? When we talk about like mental health, what was going on, why was she there, and what was the struggle, right? Why couldn't she be with her family? People don't just end up at group homes for no reason, right? And if she was having behavioral issues, I can't help but wonder that what was going on, right, in her life, and why she was having these mental health issues. So I question a lot of that, and not to be judgmental, but to know why she was there and what her life was about, right? We only limited on the information that we're getting in the interviews with her family and what we're getting from the police report today, or the missing persons report, my apologies. So on January 27th, the group home had visitors that were like hosting a local church group, and it was busy and there was a lot going on. So this is when allegedly she snuck out. Initially, I don't think they knew that she had snuck out of the window, but the report says that she snuck out of the window out of the care home. It is said that she wanted to go back home, and it is said also that she wanted to meet up with a boy. I don't know that those are true. Those are just alleged, but I do question a lot of, why did she leave through the window and what was going on? She was obviously running away from the care home. She walked out of the group home wearing a pink and gray shirt, no bag, no purse. So just her and her clothes. They did report her missing on the same day she went missing. So, which was January 27th. She was last seen at the intersection of Mesa Drive, leaving the group home approximately, I think it was 7:30. Oh, it says it on there, my bad. It's 7:45 p.m. She managed, that was approximately the time, and the house manager reported her missing a little bit later. And she was classified as, like I said initially, but, and like I said, it is alleged she left out of the bedroom window. And the original, I think, call to the police was at 8:19 p.m. And it was indicated that she had gone, quote unquote, AWOL 30 minutes prior to her leaving. I don't necessarily know the details of that, so we're going to wait to hear more on that. But I also questioned that, and why would someone would say that comment, right? And what happened and why she left. So there's a lot behind this case that we're not sure of yet. And I'm sure it'll, I hope that it'll reveal itself within the investigation. There's many police departments involved, and I believe the FBI is involved as well. So this was the fourth time she allegedly left, that there was a missing persons report for her. I couldn't find the other ones, but I also questioned that, she was really at the care home and there was a lot going on. So the group home was basically, generally we call the police, but because it's a tribal community, the group home was to notify the case manager, who then notifies Emily's family or the tribe. So there's like hoops to jump because all of the laws are different when it's like an Indian tribe or whatever, entity. It's its own whole thing. So I think that this plays a huge role also in what, like how long it took for her mom to find out that she was missing, because her mother, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, claims that she wasn't notified until a week had passed by about Emily being missing. So her birth mother did not know she was missing for a week. And that's crucial. And there's a lot of questions there, right? It makes it seem like there's foul play because people kept something like that under wraps. And it is alleged that because it's in a different legal system or whatever, it takes time for that. But I'm like, no, I call bull, because her mother should have been the first person to find out, in my opinion. And why the care home took so long to report it, hopefully it is in one of the videos we see, but I don't find enough justification for that. I think a week is far too long for a missing person. I mean, we know the first 48 hours are crucial, right? And a week, whoever committed this horrific crime could have got away with a lot, right? A week is far too long for something like this, in my opinion. Let me touch base with you guys. Hello, my beautiful Augie, Irony, and Jules. Hello, plug. So this is Emily on the screen. Again, she's so cute, and this is a horrifying case. Like I said, mom wasn't notified until a week after. And like I said, she did have previous history of being like running away, which also, like I said at the beginning of the live, it could be why the urgency was low to find her, report her missing, because they thought she was a runaway. And then I think one of the previous times they found her at a park. So lots of questions, right? But that's Emily on the screen. We're going to read the police report, or the missing persons report. I just got it this morning, so I'm really excited to read through this. So let's get started. General offense, January 27th. No gang relation. You know, at first they also said that, you know, the community, it wasn't a threat to the community. And then they were like, well, there is a threat because we don't know who did strike. And you guys are confused. I haven't hit on what happened with her. But basically she went missing January 27th, and on February 14th, 3 weeks later, her remains were found near an isolated wooded area on the side of the road, near north of Globe, off the highway, 60 miles, Highway 60 at milepost 277 off Forest Service Road in Arizona. Her remains were found. Yeah, she was found dismembered with her remains in contractor trash bags. That's why we're here to cover her case today. It is heartbreaking. Her arms and hands are still missing. There was severe trauma to her face and her head, and I believe they thought, you know, she fought back, and her remains were separated in different bags. So sorry if you guys can hear the airplane like flying over. The one bag contained her head and the torso, and another bag was holding the legs, the hands, and like I said, the arms were missing. So it's a very brutal case. That is what happened on February 14th. Like I said, there was severe trauma to her face. She is also believed to have been naked. Brutal case. My heart is breaking. I can't even believe it. It's horrifying. This is a horrifying case. Why it's not everywhere and being talked about is beyond me, because we talk about 𝗟𝗫𝗃𝗲 all the time and how she dismembered her boyfriend, and you know, that got a lot of awareness, and there's other cases that get a lot of awareness, and this is brutal. This is brutal. They dismembered her. Someone dismembered this 14-year-old girl in a horrifying manner and put her in trash bags. I mean, it's outrageous. Let's move on to the report. So it's a female, Native, Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander. Some of the stuff is redacted here. She's a juvenile missing person, 4'10", hair and eye color brown, weight 115 pounds, 14 years old. She is runaway from group home. Case is open. Open narrative. Related date, January 27th. Digital recording statement. It should be noted during the investigation, I was wearing an officer body camera, and the following is a summary of the statement and observations made during the investigation and not direct quoted unless noted. Any breaks or lapse of video is due to your speaking with an on-scene officer or an unintentional delayed start of the video. The narrative. It should be noted that I was on duty as a sworn Mesa Police Department officer wearing my uniform and operating a fully marked Mesa PD vehicle. On January 27th at approximately 2019 hours, I responded to redacted for a missing person call for service. Call comments indicate a juvenile AWOL approximately 30 minutes prior. They haven't necessarily released the group home's name, but I haven't. We're going to touch on that in a second. And I'm not the first to report on it. So whether, I mean, I have no choice but to believe that that's the actual care home. So you can find information on it on your own, though. I spoke with the reporting party, who was identified as Kathy with her MVD photo. Kathy is the manager of the group home at the dispatch location. Kathy indicated one of the clients, Emily, left out of her bedroom window and has not returned. The window screen was pushed out from the inside. Kathy stated that Emily had ran away several times in the past. Kathy did not indicate any exigent circumstances. Emily was described as a 14-year-old Native female, approximately 4 feet 10 inches, 150 pounds, with medium-length brown hair. Emily does not have a cell phone, and Emily was last seen wearing a pink and gray shirt. Kathy indicated last time Emily ran away, she was located near a Fitch Park area. they did look for her there and it was negative. So Kathy provides a picture of Emily that was attached to the call for service and submitted to records. I contacted Mesa police records and spoke with the records specialist who assisted in entering Emily into the 𝗟𝗃 as a missing person. I contacted Sergeant Hutchinson and updated him with the details of the case. Please note, this is a supplemental narrative and I am not a case agent. My involvement is minimal and I have no knowledge of the final outcome of the case. On February 19th at approximately 20:02 hours, I responded to a call service referenced an agency follow-up. Call comment stated that the reporting party was the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Additional call comment stated that the reported party had a Jane Doe he believed to be a missing Mesa juvenile. The missing juvenile was said to be Emily. Upon arrival, I contacted Agent Summers from the Bureau of Indian Affairs Homicide Unit. Agent Summers advised, redacted, a female believed to be redacted were located within the Gila County Indian Reservation. Agent Summers stated, redacted, the missing juvenile flyer distributed by the Mesa Police Department. Agent Summers asked me for contact information to the Mesa Police Homicide Unit as to share information and aid in the investigation. I immediately notified Sergeant Bailey of the above mentioned. On January 28th, I received this case for further investigation and review for missing 14-year-old female Emily. At 10:12 hours, I contacted Lisa at the group home, I believe. She advised me that Emily was still missing and it was unknown where she could be. I asked Lisa about any medical conditions and concerns for Emily, and she stated that Emily was on medication for mental health and behavioral issues. She also provided me with the contact information for, redacted, of the San Carlos Apache Tribe case manager, Lori. Then I contacted Lori and she confirmed that Emily had a history of behavioral and mental health concerns. She did not know any of the possible locations for Emily at that time. On January 29th, I received a voicemail from Lisa that she responded to the Rock Teen Center in Mesa where Emily had gone in the past, and they had not seen or heard from Emily since she left the group home. At 1500 hours, I reached out to Lisa and she said Emily was still missing and there was no new information on her whereabouts. At 1535 hours, I sent a missing persons bulletin for Emily to law enforcement statewide and requested a hospital alert to all local hospitals via Mesa PD Communications Center. On February 11th, I contacted Lisa for any new information regarding Emily. She told me that the group home received a voicemail on February 7th from an unknown person stating that Emily was with her mother on the San Carlos Reservation, according to a Facebook post. Lisa did not have Emily's mother's information. At 10:58 hours, I called Lori and requested information on Emily's mother regarding the anonymous tip. Lori advised me that she had recently spoke to redacted mother's residence and questioned her about the tip. Lori said when she spoke to Emily's mother, Stephanie Docella, Stephanie told her that Emily was not at her residence and the Facebook post was an old post. According to Lori, Stephanie said she had not heard back from redacted and appeared to be worried about her, Emily. Lori stated that she could go back to Stephanie's residence with the San Carlos Apache Tribal Police to verify redacted was not there. Lori also emailed me the San Carlos Police Department report and the order for authorization and consent filed with the San Carlos Apache Children's Court. On February 20th, I called Lori and left a voicemail for her to call me regarding any new information regarding Emily's whereabouts. At 11:20 hours, I reached out to Lisa at the group home who told me that the tip originally, she said, came in February 7th, which was actually sent to the group home on February 2nd by an unknown female. On February 27th, I was contacted by Mesa PD homicide detective who informed me that blank was positively identified by the Gila County Sheriff's Office as a homicide victim in their jurisdiction, Emily. Detective Ingram advised me to have Emily removed from the missing persons database as he was continuing to assist the Gila County with their investigation. I canceled the missing person bulletin. Emily was cleared from the NCIC as a missing person. The missing persons case is closed and the investigation for homicide is ongoing at this time. Affidavit to missing persons report. Here it is, signed. Is the following information available? Blood type, no. Dental charts, yes. Fingerprints, no. Fingerprints, no, because her hands and arms are missing. Think of the brutality of that. Why did they take her hands and her arms? Because she fought back and there was DNA. I mean, I'm horrified. I'm shook. I'm shook. Joy last sworn, no. Social Security, no. This is Emily here in their report. I mean, how sad. How sad. Let's get into the details of this. Yeah, my heart breaks. My heart is breaking. Who would do something like that, you know? 14-year-old girl, Emily. R.I.P. Emily. Okay, now I have a clip that I'm gonna play for you guys. Thank you for being here. Spread awareness. We need to get her case out there. Everybody should be talking about this. All the true crime on YouTube should have made a video or something about this, or should do it. I'm gonna play a clip. We're gonna play a few different clips of just little information about the case, and they're very short. Hello, Natasha, my love. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And hello, Augie, Juicer. See you, Juicer. And Eyes Never Lie. Hello, hello. Good to see you guys.
Room tonight as we try to answer the question, what happened to Emily Pike? The 14-year-old from the San Carlos Apache Tribe was reported missing from a Mesa group home in January. Was found murdered just outside of Globe on Valentine's Day. Her death has sparked rallies and vigils all across Arizona, and tonight our Ashley Holden has uncovered a task force formed to track down Emily's killer. Ashley joins us now with the newest developments.
Emily Pike's name screamed by her San Carlos Apache Tribe on Monday, echoed by calls for justice all over the country. The 14-year-old reported missing from a Mesa group home. Weeks later, found dismembered off the US 60 northeast of Globe on Valentine's Day.
It's very close to me for a lot of reasons.
Cynthia Logan helping with the walk, donating hundreds of t-shirts and bracelets.
I have a 14-year-old daughter, same age as Emily. I do volunteer with the community once a month. I will go back home to the res, and I'm a local artist, so I paint with the kids. It's called Apache Girl Rising.
Cynthia is also a member of the San Carlos Apache Tribe. Her home and business now here in the valley. Nolene's Country Store also helping out, together raising their voices.
This is for the community, for awareness, and for Emily and her family.
Monday, the Gila County Sheriff's Office told ABC 15 a task force is being formed with the agencies involved in the case, including the FBI, but they still don't have any solid persons of interest or suspects.
Our hearts are torn to pieces, and just getting that justice will give us a peace of mind to know that this individual won't be able to do that to anyone else.
This weekend, ABC 15 spoke with Emily's family, reporting a new $75,000 reward. Gila County says they will post a tip link, hoping people will come forward with information.
We want to walk for justice. We want whoever is responsible for this to, be accountable and be found.
ABC 15 reached out
Oh, let me
to DCS regarding the Mesa group home. They say their investigation is ongoing and no action has been taken. For Arizona Tonight, I'm
no suspects. How horrifying, right? Very sad. So as I mentioned, I do also want to share really quick. I'm going to link it in the description as well. There is a GoFundMe for Emily. So I'll link it in the description. You guys can go support if you want, which I totally think people should go support. I will link it down below. So I think, that clip gave a little bit of information that I think is helpful. And we're going to go back to who is responsible, right? Who did this to Emily? So again, why was she in the care home or in the group home? Maybe better mental health resources. She was clearly struggling with something, right? Behavioral issues, mental health issues. She is the Arizona Department of Child Safety announced when this initially happened that when a child goes missing, they have to be reported within 24 hours, but it does not apply to tribal services in the tribal community. I thought that was very interesting. And Arizona is ranked the 3rd in the nation for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. The 3rd ranked in the nation. So I think it's definitely a topic that needs to be discussed more and needs more awareness, and things need to change clearly. No one has been charged as of yet. It is alleged that they have 3 people. First, it was 1 person, then 3. I'm not sure. None of that information has been released by law enforcement as of yet. The investigation did take a turn when there was a leaked memo from the Gila County Sheriff's County, the police department leaked a memo that was supposed to be, that appeared on their Facebook page, and it was supposed to other law enforcement professionals, and the memo revealed details about how she was dismembered and how one bag contained her head and the torso, and the other bag was holding her legs, and her hands and arms were missing. And that information wasn't even released at the beginning. That came out on quote unquote accident when the police department leaked that information on Facebook. We've seen this happen right before with other true crime cases. It happened in the Maddie Soto case. You know, they leaked her pictures, I think it was. And then, you know, we've seen a lot of other instances where that happens, and I'm horrified. That's crazy. And again, how she was murdered is so brutal. And this is how her family found out about the details, the horrific details, through the police report being released. The police releasing, you know, on accident. And then, of course, they had to make a statement and whatnot. So who could have done this? Who's responsible, right? Was it an online predator? Was she on social media? I'm curious to see what comes out in the reports, if in the investigation reports about all of that. I don't think, how could she be on social media if she didn't have a phone? So that was one thing I questioned, but you never know. Was it someone she knew? You know, that was one of my theories. It's a very personal crime, right? The way that they dismembered her, and it seemed like she was heading towards the direction of her reservation. And so is this someone that knew her, she was comfortable with, she was sneaking out with? Did she hitchhike and someone picked her up that she didn't know? We do know, you know, she did love Roblox. So I wonder how she was playing that or using that app, but that's a breeding ground for groomers, right? And initially she didn't meet, like I said, the criteria for the Amber Alert. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, it's a child. They should all be reported to the Amber Alert right away, right? Like, doesn't matter what is going on, they should be reported if it's a child, at least in my opinion. So I'm going to play another clip of the authorities giving a little background on the investigation. It's also just like a 2-minute clip. She was 14 years old. Sorry if I'm missing questions while I'm like reading things, but yes, she was 14 years old, from Mesa.
Emily Pike's remains were recovered nearly 100 miles away from where she was last seen alive. And tonight we have learned it's not the first time that same area has been the site of a murder investigation. Could the cases be connected? Here's true crime correspondent Brianna Whitney.
We are right off the US 60 at milepost 277. This is where you go to start to get where 14-year-old Emily Pike's remains were found. And you can see here people have been out here bringing flowers, showing signs of support. But now we know in 2021, a Native man was found dead right here too, down to the same exact milepost, and confirmed tonight his murder is still unsolved too. I want to show you how close together these two crime scenes are. That's the US 60 behind me. We're now on Forest Service Road 355, and it's here that Gila County Sheriff's officials tell us this is where Emily Pike's remains were found. They tell us the 14-year-old's remains were discovered by people who were walking, hiking on this trail here, and that's who called police. Now we know they were found down here dismembered in contractor trash bags. Her hands and her arms are still missing. It's been more than a month now since they have been discovered. I talked to the Gila County Sheriff's Office today. Their officials and detectives tell me they're making progress in this case, but right now there are still several important unknowns they're trying to figure out.
We don't have a weapon. We've not recovered any kind of weapon. Cause of death is still under investigation by the ME's office. We're investigating those leads. None of those, as of yet, have pointed us to a definite suspect or person of interest.
The cries for justice for Emily have been loud. Several vigils held in honor of the San Carlos Apache teen who ran away from a Mesa group home she was living at on January 27th. The Gila County Sheriff's Office is getting help from many agencies, including the FBI, and new tonight, they've created an official task force on the case to funnel leads and tips. Well, now we've learned Emily's homicide is not the only one being investigated here. It was back in September of 2021, the Gila County Sheriff's Office and DPS got a call and found a Native man shot to death multiple times in his car parked right here at milepost 277 off the US 60, just like Emily. Today we learned his murder is unsolved. Here's what we know. Sheriff's deputies identified him as 31-year-old Leo Harry White, a man from White River. He was found by DPS troopers and deputies after somebody called in a welfare check for the car in the pullout area. The detective telling me today there are some leads in his case, but no arrests in his murder either. Officials with the sheriff's office say there is one very key difference between Emily Pike and Leo White's murders.
It is a little different, and in that one, it looks like the homicide actually took place there where the subject was found in a vehicle. This one with Emily, of course, we believe that she was killed somewhere else, and then that is where she was dropped off.
For that reason, and because of differences in the crime scenes, sheriff's deputies don't have any reason to believe these two cases are related, even though they are in the same area, and they are both open and ongoing. As part of
So where did this crime happen, right? Where's like all the evidence? I mean, to dismember someone, there must have been a lot of blood. I have so many questions, right? And then they went and dumped her. Where did this take place? I mean, there's so many things, so many questions, and it's horrifying. I do want to just go through like a little timeline before we go to the next clip. So January 28th, it is alleged that she was on medication for mental health and behavior issues. January 29th, a missing bulletin was sent out. February 11th, the employee with the group home told police they received a voicemail from an unknown person saying Emily was with her mom. The voicemail came in on February 2nd, but was not received until 5 days later on February 7th. A tragic mistake? I don't think so. I'm also questioning why someone on the other line would say that she was with her mom. I question this deeply. On February 19th, officials with the Bureau of Indian Affairs contacted the Mesa Police Department saying they believe they had a Jane Doe. And as of Wednesday, March 19th, there's still no solid persons of interest in the case. So I'm going to play another clip. I wanted to read a comment. I think she probably fought back and scratched the pervert. The hands haven't turned up right. This is brutal. 𝗶𝗵𝗃 says mental health in general around the United States is not equipped for people that are having issues. From what I've seen, most of the time they end up in jail when they actually need help. And that's why, against all logic, said the Amber Alert didn't apply. It didn't apply. Why can't they put a small printed number on each bag somewhere that matches the number of the box? It is really strange. It's going to be somebody who knew her, says number 7. And this is my opinion only. I think it was someone that knew her. It was really personal. I'm going to play another little clip. I think these are so informative, and I really like these.
In the last conversation we talked to her with was when she said she was going to return within a month. But like not even a week later.
That's right, Augie.
Weeks later, she ran off.
Children are not safe.
And she ran off, and none of us really knew that she ran off until some of us seen the missing person report of her, or they finally told our grandma. And then a month later, they come down to our house and they tell us that she's gone, that she's no longer with us.
In the Indigenous
that
world,
person will like someone know him.
MMIW is what we use in awareness all across what we call Turtle Island, Indian country, all Native American tribes. And this is an awareness to share light of all the missing and murdered Indigenous women. You hear it all the time, especially as a Native American. And then all of a sudden, it happens to your own. It hits so close to home for this occurrence to happen. Not only that, to happen to your own family, and it's such a horrific experience.
Emily Pike, say her name. Emily Pike, say her name. Emily Pike. May justice be served. God bless you.
I'm so sad about this. This is horrific. What do you guys think? Let me know. I know. It's terrible. My heart goes out to her family. Will this monster be caught? There's just someone out there roaming the streets of Arizona. Who knows who committed this crime?
We now know the identity of a teenage girl whose remains were found off the US 60 northeast of Globe.
The girl's family tells us she went missing from a group home in Mesa at the end of January. Now they're trying to help detectives find her killer. True crime correspondent Brianna Whitney's here tonight. You spoke with her mother today. Boy, that's a tough conversation to have.
It was maybe even worse than usual just because of how grotesque this crime is. It is horrible. The teenager's name is Emily Pike, 14 years old. Her mother told me she got the news just yesterday. She wants to know what happened between the time Emily disappeared at the end of January and Valentine's Day, when her remains were discovered in trash bags on the side of a dirt road.
I wanted to say that I miss you so much, and I really I'll try to see if he could come visit me next time.
Young teenage innocence. It's everything 14-year-old Emily Pike embodied to her family and friends.
My daughter, she was a very happy and kind person. She loves painting, she loves art, she loves to draw.
Emily's mother, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲, tells me over the phone her daughter was hoping to go to college and pursue her love of art. That all changed in late January.
Her case manager finally came a week later to tell me that she was missing.
Emily's family lives on the San Carlos Apache Indian Reservation and tells me at the time Emily was living in a group home in Mesa. According to the Mesa Police Department, Emily was last seen alive on January 27th near Mesa Drive and McKellips Road, and the group home manager reported her missing. This week, the Gila County Sheriff's Office said they found dismembered remains on February 14th in a wooded area off Highway 60 past Globe. According to detectives, Emily's torso and head were in large contractor trash bags, with her legs in another. They have not been able to find her arms and hands. The autopsy showed she had visible face and head trauma.
Why did it go that far? But she's just an innocent, she was a baby. Pain that I would hope no other mother goes through.
Her mom tells me detectives have relayed to her they're looking at 3 potential suspects, but she's hoping to learn more on that soon. Anyone with information at all is urged to call the Gila County Sheriff's Office, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, or the San Carlos Apache Tribal Police. One thing her mom told me, she was going to turn 15 in May.
And these teens who are at risk in group homes to begin with, there's a lot going on in their lives, but we still don't know what happened, who she went with, and they're really trying to narrow down those final hours.
Yeah, they're going to have to. I think now that they can identify that this was her, these are her remains, and pin down the last time she was seen alive. Now it's okay. Did anybody see anything or know anything in that time frame at the end of January? Who was she talking to? Had she met anybody maybe online or on social media? She was 14, young, but a lot of teens have these kind of apps. She ran away. Did she run away? And was there somebody off the 60 that may have picked her up? I don't know. And that's what we need to find out from investigators. But it's a multi-jurisdictional investigation now. You've got so many people involved, and it could be that one of them requests help from the FBI. It hasn't happened.
So like I said at the beginning, all this jurisdiction stuff, right? I feel like it hinders the ability of the investigation and whatnot. And let's go back to, was it just a crime of opportunity? Is there a serial killer who would do something like this? We talked about it being personal, perhaps being someone that she knew. And I say that because maybe they knew her schedule, they knew where she was comfortable to go with them. Obviously, she fought back, maybe because the hands are missing, DNA. Was there something going on prior to her leaving? Was she seeing an older person? I mean, there's so many things. Missing people don't just vanish, right? And that's like a theory that sex workers or homeless people or missing people, that they're not important and that people don't look for them and search for them. And that's not always necessarily true. And someone always has a secret, right? And I think that this is an active threat to the community. And I think, you know, like I said, who picked her up? Did she hitchhike? Was something planned? Who took her and why? Was she wanting to meet a boy? Who was the boy? I'm sure law enforcement hopefully is looking into that. Why did it take so long for all of this to be reported? There's like time gaps in between things being reported, right? And she just vanished, and there was no frantic news report until later, right? And I think that those are all things that need to be questioned, and we need to talk about. You know, she's not just a missing person. At the time, she was a kid. You know, who was waiting for her when she went out of that window? I'm curious. For 7 full days, you know, the child disappears, and her mother's left in the dark due to a delay in reporting. And I'm like, a delay in reporting? Like a screw up in the system, right? I feel like a delay in reporting, like I said, shouldn't have her mother been the first to know? And time is everything in a missing persons case, right? Like I said, the 24 to 48 hours are the most crucial. So it sucks that these hours, in Emily's case, there was nothing going on. They thought she was a runaway and they were waiting for her to come back. You know, and time is a funny thing. You know, 1 second it's on your side and then the next time it's your worst enemy. So it's not just a murder. It's a brutal case. There's like I said, a monster walking and breathing amongst people in society, walking within society. And could it be that it was someone that had an issue with the tribe? I mean, these are things to be considered, and I'm not here to judge anyone or come for anyone. I just think that it's important to explore all those options, which I'm assuming and hoping that law enforcement is doing. Could it have been a ritualistic thing, a ritualistic killing? People have questioned that. I've seen it on the blogs. Trafficking also, you know, personal, planned. There's a lot that I think that we can question here, but let's move on. I want to talk about the group home. So at first, the name wasn't released. There was no information really about it. It is allegedly Sylvia's group home. Law enforcement didn't want to reveal that, but it came to be known and is now closed for business as of. And let's get a troubling look at the group home. So there was over 80 police calls in 3 years for missing persons, 30 official missing reports for 18 different children. Emily had run away 4 times. 3 times led to missing people reports. There's something going on, a pattern, right? These are just facts that we can find online, and that's serious, right? What's going on with all these children? And it is a care home that is funded by, I believe, Indian tribal insurances or tribal insurances, from what I read online and doing the deep dive. There's another 17-year-old girl that went missing. Her name was Veronica Cruz, also to have been associated with the group home in May 18th of 2024. So not too far apart, and she has been missing since. So Mesa PD, they have taken 30 missing persons reports involving different residents involved in this group home over the past 3 years. DCS launched an investigation into the group home following Emily's disappearance and crime. The group home, like I said, does have a contract with the DCS, and the policy is that Mesa police report things to the group home, that reports it to the missing child case manager, then reports it to the family or the tribal chief officer or whatever. The license is currently being reviewed, and like I said before, it is closed for business. They have made a report, an employee, the director gave an interview, and I'm going to pull that up. I want you guys to hear some of the questions that she was asked about this situation. I think it's rather interesting, but let me touch base. This is awful. I've never heard of gonna spend. Yes, please do, Laura. Like, how could you let someone run away the fourth time and it kind of feels like you would get aggravated and someone keeps doing it? Why does she keep running away, you know? Also wonder what time of the day she left the other times. That's a good question. We picked up a runaway and dropped him off as soon as the officer told me, okay, so you have experience with that. Why leave it on the side of the highway where it could be found, not why hide it? It was in black contractor trash bags, right? How many of these runaways are because they just don't want to be there or other reasons? Is there something going on within the care home? Maybe abuse? I was thinking maybe abuse. Who are the owners of the group home? Well, they can't keep the kids from leaving. That's true. 2 missing people from the same place. Yeah, so we saw the male that they just reported on in the clip. Veronica Cruz is another one, and then we're going to talk about another one in just a second. But let's watch this clip really quick, and then we're going to go into the interviews of the clip. There's a couple questions from, I think it was like the director of the care home, and I want to go through those.
I want the family to know how much we love them.
Thursday, a day of prayer remembering 14-year-old Emily Pike.
Emily was a precious little girl, and she was a loving little girl.
Police say Emily was living at a group home in Mesa when she was reported missing. On Valentine's Day, found dismembered off Highway 60 northeast of Globe.
Tragedy affects not only her family, but the entire San Carlos Apache Tribe.
1 week after being identified, hundreds coming to 𝗟𝗄𝗃 Church for a prayer vigil.
Emily was such a beautiful person. You couldn't come around here and not smile.
Many, like Emily's family, who are a part of the San Carlos Apache Tribe, traveling to the valley.
Coming up here and being up here for this reason, like many others said, we have so many emotions.
The Gila County Sheriff's Office saying this week the FBI is involved with the case and they do have leads.
Obviously, a horrible crime was committed against her. So whatever happened, she ended up with somebody who killed her. And so movement is really important.
Brad Garrett is a former FBI agent, now a crime and terrorism analyst for ABC.
Fortunately, because you've got county police and federal agents working on the case, they can tackle these things a lot quicker because the manpower is there. And if technology needs to be done, then they'll do that too.
As the investigation plays out,
Epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women remains largely unreported, and we continue to be overlooked.
Organizers and leaders at Thursday's vigil working and calling for change.
We matter. We matter. As long as I have air in my lungs, I'm going to continue to speak until we make change and difference.
Emily's family, with so many behind them, pushing for justice.
At this time, who is responsible, but I do know they mess with the wrong people. We are not going to be quiet. This is not going to, we want justice and we're not going to be quiet until we get it.
For Arizona Tonight, I'm Ashley.
It's so sad. Yes, it was. Yes, on Valentine's Day. That's right. Let's read this article. The group manager answers some questions. So it says the group home manager agreed to answer the True Crime Arizona correspondent Brianna Whitney's questions on several aspects of the tragic case, including the investigation, safety, and the emotional impact of those still living in a group home. So this is the group home manager. Question: is it mandatory to report the kids missing when they leave? What is that protocol with the police department? Yes, the group home must report all children and missing even if they leave to go to the store without permission. Majority of our reports are regarding the same child leaving without permission. Question: when a kid runs away, why doesn't staff go search for them? We are a standard group home. We are a hands-off facility. We will never put our hands on a child. The only reason to even touch a child is to keep them safe from harm. For example, from running into ongoing traffic when upset. We have been known to call Mesa police and stay on the phone and follow our children until police assist us, which is always immediately when children are a danger to themselves or others. Are there 30 kids missing? How many of those are accounted for now or came back? Answer: no, there are not 30 children missing from our home. All of our children who have been reported missing have been accounted for. Those children who did not return to the home were placed in other facilities for many different reasons, including a higher level of care for their safety. Safety always comes first. Question: why are they running away in the first place? Is there a better way to prevent them from running away in the first place? Answer: children run away for many reasons, to include missing their family. The state has an amazing system set up for children to visit with their families. With permission from guardians, the group home helps them with visitations as well to ensure visitation is increased when possible. Missing their friends because they are not used to following rules and structures, and because they have mental health conditions, etc. What happened to Emily the day Emily went missing? Did you call Mesa PD right away? The group home staff followed all protocol. I like how she ignored the part, did you call Mesa PD right away? No, because the group home was following all protocol in concerns to the tribal policies, right? What was your contact with Mesa PD in the days and weeks after Emily's disappearance? Had they given you any updates? She responds: Mesa police have been in contact with the group home. There is an open investigation going on to catch whoever did this. They are working ongoing. We're not going to get in the way of their investigation. Question: have police interviewed or questioned you and the people in the group home as part of Emily's investigation? Yes. How scary and upsetting is this to your staff and the kids at the group home? How are you all dealing with it? She responds: this is traumatic for all of us. Our lives have been changed forever. We have amazing people in the community who are wrapping us in resources to support during the difficult time. We are hurting. People on the internet have been horrible. They somehow have forgotten that there is a killer out there. They're threatening to leak our homes. We need our children to feel safe and protected. We need our staff to feel safe and secure while taking care of our children. Question: do you believe the public has a misconception of the group home? She responds: yes, I realize people don't have all the facts. We trust law enforcement to provide justice for Emily. Our group home puts everything we can into our children. We have been open for 24 years. We are still in contact with 95% of the children who have lived in our home. We have children who have graduated, who are currently in college, who have amazing, successful businesses, who have large, beautiful families. We parent our children and sometimes their families. We're all about reunification of children and families. We do the best we can with our children to make sure they have the best chance at a bright future. We want to create the most normal environments for them possible. They take vacations, participate in sports, attend sports events. We treat our children as if we have birthed them ourselves. All of our children receive mentors. Right now we are hurting. Right now we are devastated. How long has this group home been open, and do they have all native kids from reservations? Responses: the group home has been open 24 years. The owner of the group home has been working in the field of children and families for 35 years. She has a 35-year history of advocating for children and families. The group home has many contracts. Also, children are placed into group homes for safety when all other resources have been exhausted. Group homes are not a punishment. They are a temporary support resource. We ask that the public allow the police to complete their investigation for Emily's sake and the sake of her family. Her soul deserves to be at peace. She did not deserve this. Arizona's family also reached out to the Department of Child Services about the investigation and the group home, and they sent the following statement. Like the community, the department was shocked and saddened to learn about the horrific murder of Emily Pike. We support law enforcement in their efforts to find and hold accountable the person who committed the heinous crime and all of who target vulnerable children, particularly those in the foster care. At this time, the department does not believe any action taken or not taken by the group home has caused the terrible outcome of this case. We have opened a licensed inquiry to determine whether appropriate steps were taken by the group home during the incident. Thank you, Tipsy, for gifting. You're so sweet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Who got the membership? I can't see it on the StreamYard because it's different. I'm curious who got it. Let me go back and be nosy. Jessica C, welcome to Mellyverse. Thank you, Tipsy, for gifting. Poor girl was not happy and wanted to run away from the group home, but also met an absolute monster on the path. Did she meet one, or did she know her monster? That was a yes or no answer. Right. Of course they're going to cover themselves, right? So that was from the group home manager. Let's get back to the PowerPoint, because while looking into the care home, I came across a couple of reviews. There was a lot that had been deleted, which I question that as well, but they were probably very mean, right? So Sylvia's group home, 1.4 stars. One of the comments or the reviews says, "Rest in peace, Emily Pike. Places like this make me sick. They put up a front that they are here to help people in need, but only cause them to have even more issues. Not all halfway homes and group homes are bad, but there is still a lot of bad ones out there run by bad people. Sadly, the bad ones hardly ever face repercussions or get shut down for all the pain, trauma, and suffering they inflict on the youth and even adults. They never take the blame when it is blatantly obvious they cause trauma to many individuals. Spread the word she was here before she left." Another review says, "Condolences to family and all. I've been looking up about the incident and found the home had a troubling history with Mesa police. There should have been a heavy investigation years ago. I'm really distorted with the basic information I have read." Another one says Emily Pike. And then another review says, "Only took Native American medical insurance." So it sounds like maybe the care home was run and funded by the Native American medical insurance system. So there was like one good review, and it was like posted like yesterday. So I was like, I don't believe that's even real, but we are shook. We are so shook about this. Remember at the beginning, I said we found out the missing male in the same area, right? We heard about it in the clip, and now I'm going to show you these two females on the screen. This is, let me make sure I have this. I'm sorry, hold on one second. Okay, so top left is Veronica Cruz. She's the one I mentioned before, missing since May 18th, 2024, still has not been found, 17 years old. And Tina Fontaine. The Tina Fontaine case, if you haven't heard about that, I might do a deep dive on it tomorrow. I want to read an article about that case if you are not familiar with it. I think it's important to bring awareness to all of these cases messing with Indigenous women and children. This is horrifying. I'm going to play another clip. It's just
New at 10, as the investigation into the murder of 14-year-old Emily Pike continues, we're uncovering more about the Mesa group home where she was living before she was killed. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲.
I'm Mark Curtis. Thanks for joining us. Emily Pike went missing from the home in late January, and tonight we're learning another teen from that same group home has been missing now for nearly a year.
12 News journalist Bianca Bono is joining us live from the newsroom to explain. Bianca?
Well, shortly after Pike's remains were found, we learned from Mesa police that they had taken 30 missing persons reports stemming from that same group home over the past 3 years. So we asked if any of those cases remain open today, and we learned that one does. According to the Mesa Police Department, another teenage girl is missing from the same group home where Emily Pike was living before she was murdered and has been missing for close to a year. Emily Pike was last seen in January in the area of McKellips Road and Mesa Drive after leaving the group home. And on Valentine's Day, the 14-year-old girl's remains were discovered in trash bags an hour and a half away in a remote area near Globe. After Pike's horrific death, Mesa police confirmed over over the past 3 years, they've taken 30 missing persons reports involving residents of that same group home, and one of those residents remains missing to this day. 17-year-old Veronica Cruz was last seen on May 18th last year around 4:55 p.m., reported missing by group home staff. Her photo and information featured on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's website. But despite that, when 12 News reached the group home's CEO for comment about Cruz's whereabouts, she said she believes Cruz is safe, though she does not know who Cruz is with or where she is. She added that Cruz turns 18 next month. When 12 News followed up with Mesa Police, asking about the CEO's statement, a police spokesperson said an investigator needs to physically see that Cruz is okay before changing any case status. And due to her age, which is still 17, she would have to be taken to her guardian and not just released. Mesa Police encourages anyone with information about her whereabouts to call them and let them know. And I did follow up with the group home CEO asking if any efforts are being made to get Cruz back into the care of either the home or a guardian. She has not responded to that question. DCS has opened a licensing inquiry to determine whether appropriate steps were taken by that group home in Emily Pike's case. Now, back to the Pike investigation. A task force has now been created consisting of local and federal law enforcement agencies that are investigating her death. They've also now set up a centralized tip line, which you can find on our website, 12news.com.
So, I think it's important to talk about those cases as well that didn't get a lot of traction. And that's horrifying. She thinks she's safe, right? She's been missing for a year. I'm like, are Veronica Cruz's remains somewhere out in the wilderness also? I'm dead set with someone associated with the group home. I think it's someone that knew her, or could be possibly someone with the group home. So the bottom right corner, that's Tina Fontaine. If you don't know about that case, it's a little bit older. There was a man named Raymond Cormier who was recently found dead, but that man was acquitted of murdering 15-year-old Tina Fontaine. That basically he was a thief and a drug dealer, and he was found not guilty of second-degree murder by Winnipeg jury in 2018. He was accused of drugging and killing the teen from Sag King First Nation he met on the streets of Winnipeg and dumping her body in the Red River. It was I know, it's a brutal case. He ended up being found not guilty. So I think we should deep dive this case. But she's also someone that had gone missing, and that's what happened to her. So my heart breaks for all of these females missing. I did want to mention that Emily's cousin, like we heard in the clip earlier, said that Emily had planned to be home back at the reservation in a month. So when she called her, she said, "Hey, can't wait to see you. I'll see you in a month," something along the sorts. And I think we should question, like, whether we think she was going back to the reservation that night, like walking. Why wouldn't she call her family or her mom? I'm confused about that part. And how long do they believe she was killed before the body was found? We don't know that yet. Was she murdered the same night that she walked away and walked out of that window? Questions, right? Like I said, hitchhiked. Was she held captive and tortured prior to being unalived and dismembered and dropped off in contractor trash bags? That's a big question. I would be curious to see about maybe the autopsy. I don't know how much access we'll have to it since it is a child, but I'm curious to see if there was SA involved, what other things were found on her body and whatnot. And where are her missing body parts? Where's her hands? Where's her arms? I want to touch back on that in a second, but this picture has Emily on the far left. There's a mural that someone made in the middle, which I think is so beautiful, and then a picture with her family on the right. It's a heartbreaking case. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it. I'm going to play a little clip of her former roommate. giving a little bit of insight. And thank you for being here to support and spread awareness.
Her dismembered remains discovered on a rural forest road 100 miles away. Her former roommate now sharing what happened before her disappearance and why she may have left in the first place. True crime correspondent Brianna Whitney's been on the case from the start. What did you find out?
We learned a lot more about what was kind of going through Emily's head before she left that night. But this is just a horrific case to keep reporting on. Important details, though, nonetheless. This really fills in several missing pieces about what 14-year-old Emily Pike's life was like in the group home and why she ran away in late January. We have learned Emily is not the first or only teen to have run away from that group home.
The tragic story of Emily Pike, seen by millions.
I wanted to say that I miss you so much.
After the 14-year-old's
I love that little
dismembered
video
body
of her.
was found in
How
eastern
sweet.
Arizona on Valentine's Day. Her remains stuffed into trash bags. But the story hits hardest for those who lived with Emily in the Mesa group home, like her roommate, who we're calling 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 to protect her identity.
My relationship with Emily was just like trying to steer her in the right direction because it's hard being in the group home.
𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 says she lived at the group home near Mesa Drive in 𝗟𝗏s for 4 years, and that Emily lived there 2 different times. Emily was from the San Carlos Apache Reservation, and 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 says she struggled with mental health and there were better resources in the valley. While 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 recently moved out, she's in contact with many of the girls still living there. She says Emily left the home in late January because she wanted to visit a boy she met while taking guitar lessons. 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 says at the time Emily left, a church group was conducting activities at the group home.
What it looked like was that the church was there and that served as a distraction of when Emily left. She left because she wanted to go out and see the boy that she liked, and she wanted to talk to him. She either used the back door, she used the window, and she left as everyone was distracted.
𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 says Emily had run away before. Police tell us the group home manager reported Emily missing.
My time being there, I've seen many kids run away from this group home.
According to Mesa police, this group home alone has reported 30 children as missing over the past 3 years. Retired Phoenix Police Missing Persons Detective Stuart Summershoe says this is common, but these cases quickly become high risk.
A lot of our human trafficking and sex trafficking originate from group home kids because they are the most vulnerable victims out there.
Based on where Emily's remains were found off Highway 60 heading northeast, 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 believes she was just trying to go home.
I feel like she just ran away and she was trying to hitchhike back to her reservation to see her parents, and she just got picked up by the wrong person.
If she was trying to hitchhike, I mean, why couldn't she just call her family, you know, to come get her? I'm wondering if there was a custody agreement, right? I'm wondering a lot of things now. I wanted to touch base on just something that I found interesting that I read upon online, and I did find some stuff on Reddit about it. But I read that in the Apache culture, the dismemberment of a body, whether in life or death, is often associated with profound spiritual and cosmological consequences. Traditionally, the Apache people believe that the body should remain intact after death to ensure a peaceful transition to the afterlife. If a body was dismembered, it could signify spiritual disruption, dishonor, or the inability for the spirit to find rest. Many indigenous cultures, including the Apache, held belief that the soul or the spirit remains connected to the body. Dismemberment could mean that the spirit is trapped or unable to move on, potentially causing it to linger as a ghost or harmful presence. Additionally, enemies who sought to curse or dishonor a person might dismember them to prevent them from reaching the afterlife. In an Apache warrior traditions, enemy warriors might have been mutilated after battle to symbolically strip them of power. However, for an Apache person, dying without an intact body could be considered a serious spiritual misfortune. Not that that has anything to do with it, but I thought that was interesting as I came across that online. It goes back to my theory of, did she know the person who committed this crime? Missing, murdered, and Indigenous woman. I did want to talk about this for just a second before we end the live. I do have another clip that I am going to play in a second, but there are so many systemic failures, right, that contribute to the societal factors revolving MMIW statistics, and the media does not highlight these cases as much as others, and statistics prove that. Some alarming statistics from 2024 are that Indigenous women face higher rates of violence, including murder, sexual assault, and physical abuse than other groups. Some Indigenous women experience murder rates that are 10 times higher than the national average. Murder is the third leading cause of death for Native women. Third leading cause of death for Native women. There are concerns about the lack of data and accountability in cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, with many cases not being reported or investigated adequately. A Senate Public Safety hearing was held on March 12th for the House Bill 2281, which would expand the Amber Alert and Silver Alert systems to include missing Indigenous people. Why weren't they included before? Anyways, some supporters say the bill would help protect an unreserved population, especially women and girls who go missing at disproportionate rates. HB 2281 has already passed in the House. If it passes the full Senate, it will head to the Governor Katie Hobbs' desk for her signature. Tiffany Dyron, an executive director of the Coalition to Stop Violence Against Native Women, said more comprehensive law enforcement and training that addresses jurisdictional challenges, increased funding for tribal programs that provide shelter, mental health resources, and legal aid to impacted families and survivors, and strengthened alert systems are among the policy solutions that advocates should continue to fight for to address the systemic crisis. And I read a quote, she says a quote that as Indigenous people, we are not invisible. We deserve just as much attention from law enforcement. Our cases are involving real people, real families, and real children. So I did just want to bring awareness to that, which is why I wanted to make sure that I did cover this case here on my channels. And so I appreciate you guys being here and learning. And if you didn't know about the case, now you know literally what's out there. I think I got pretty much all the details.
Today to remember a young girl whose remains were recently discovered in the woods near Globe. So what happened to Emily Pike? Her death is still a mystery. The girl's grandmother spoke exclusively to 12 News today, and Tricia Hendricks has the story.
Yellow ribbons wrapped around poles and trees from Mesa Drive and McKellips Road to Mesa Drive and Brown Road, a visible symbol of the community's love and support for 14-year-old Emily Pike in the area where she was last seen.
I'm hurt. Agatha
Key is Emily's biological grandmother.
Crying a lot.
She says Emily was always a
Jules.
nice, sweet, quiet girl that got good grades.
I miss her.
Gila County officials tell 12 News they identified the remains of a girl found off the US 60 near Globe February 14th as those of 14-year-old Emily Pike from the San Carlos Apache Tribe. She walked out of a Mesa group home on January 27th, and for more than 2 weeks, she was considered a missing person or a runaway teen until she was found with some of her body parts missing.
Hard for me. Imagine what happened to her.
Her death is now being investigated as a homicide.
I want to know
by
why
the
she was in the
County
group
Sheriff's
home.
Office and the San Carlos Apache
I agree.
Tribal Police. And so far, no arrests have been made.
We are always advocating for missing children.
Leela Woodard is the founder of the Arizona Missing Children's Task Force.
Missing Indigenous children and women is a big problem in the United States, especially in Arizona.
Leela says this simple act is a way people are coming together to honor her life and show her loved ones they're not alone. In fact, stats from the National Institute of Justice are staggering.
Indigenous women are murdered at 10 times the rate of the national average. Murder is the leading cause of Indigenous women aged 10 through 24.
Leela is taking a stand to raise awareness.
Awareness is the #1 way that we bring people home,
while showing support for Emily's loved ones.
We can also do community searches, hang up flyers, take flyers to businesses, put on billboards.
Every ribbon, a reminder of love, remembrance, and community strength.
Through the grace of God, I just pray. I says, God, give me the strength. My heart is hurting.
A heartfelt tribute Agatha is grateful for.
I appreciate it for what they're doing for her.
While the Gila County Sheriff's Office says there is no active threat, the push for answers in Emily's case continues.
Her life was taken too soon.
Tricia Hendricks, 12 News.
If you have any
It's terrifying. It's sad. So there's a reward for anyone with information about her whereabouts. Well, the person's whereabouts that did this, or anything about her missing body parts. I guess anything related to the case. Information can be reported to the sheriff's office, phone number 928-425-4449, or the San Carlos Apache Police Department at 928-475-1700. I have one more clip of the reward.
Murder case of a young girl that has gotten national attention. The San Carlos Apache Tribe promising up to $75,000 to anybody who provides investigators with information leading to an arrest in the case of Emily Pike. She went missing from her group home and was later found violently murdered. Thank you for joining us for 12 News. 12 News journalist 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 live in Guadalupe. A vigil for Emily Pike just ended. And now this big reward, Gabby. What's going on out there?
It is weird, Julie.
Well, Troy, the emotions surrounding this case are still very raw. The vigil just ended, but earlier today, dozens of people gathered to walk and pray in honor of Emily Pike. And just over my shoulder, you can still see there's one man that remains at the top of the hill lighting candles. The organizers of that vigil tell me they're hoping events like this one will not only bring justice to Emily's case, but also raise awareness for other missing and murdered Indigenous women. Now, 14-year-old Emily Pike first went missing in late January after leaving a group home in Mesa. Investigators have surveillance video of Pike walking in the area of Mesa Drive and McKellips Road. Nearly 3 weeks later, Pike's remains were found on Valentine's Day in a wooded area outside of Globe. Investigators with the Gila County Sheriff's Office tell us they do not believe Pike was killed where her remains were found. Pike's story has touched people not only here in Arizona, but across the country. So along with that new $75,000 reward, the chairman of the San Carlos Apache Tribe announced it also commissioned an independent study to figure out how to prevent further cases like Emily's.
That's very helpful, and it's encouraging to know that hopefully that people won't be afraid to speak out and what they know, and that's a lot of the times that people are afraid to speak out. As for today, you can see that we are not afraid to speak out against what's wrong. So hopefully that does bring, Emily to have justice and others as well.
And Chairman Terry Rambler also says the upcoming month of May will be dedicated to honoring the memory of all tribal members who are missing or murdered. In a statement, Rambler says, in part, this will be a time to stand with all families that have lost a piece of their soul to this crisis. This is a time to work together to resolve unanswered questions. So anyone with information about Emily's case is asked to contact investigators. Several agencies are taking part of this investigation, including the Gila County Sheriff's Office. We have all of their contact information on 12news.com.
So sad. Why would someone do this to Emily? Where are her arms and her hands? Where's justice? I am eager to find out more details about the custody situation and a little bit more about that background. I think it will explain a lot, and my heart goes out to her family. This is terrible, and RIP Emily Pike. I think it's important to spread awareness and continue to say her name and continue to talk about it so that it doesn't get shoved under the rug, because it is a case that deals with different jurisdictions. And we talk about missing, murdered, and Indigenous women here, and that also deserves more awareness as well. So with that being said, thank you for being here. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Justice for Emily Pike. I will continue to follow up on this. I'm going to try to get as much more information as I can. We have more true crime planned for later, but we'll see. If not, definitely tomorrow. There's 3 lives planned for tomorrow. So let's get all caught up on all the true crime, spread awareness. I appreciate you guys for being here. Shout out to all my mods. I will see you guys later tonight in either a chat or on another live. Yes, thank you guys for being here and being open-minded and willing to listen to a new case per usual. And like I said, make sure you hit that like button on the way out. I'll see you soon.
Trying to run, the sun's gonna But nobody can hide when she gets a hold of that paperwork. So don't you dare come in here acting like a jerk. Dance might make her dance, but new court docs will make her wanna twerk. Dark hair shining in the Cali sun. Melly on the case, so no one and trying to run. You Sims can ask for feed pics, but you getting none. It's 𝗏 with Melly, let's have some fucking fun. So if you're feeling for true crime, like it's a drug, 𝗏 with Melly is your motherfucking plug. Going so hard on criminals, they'll call their mama for a hug. She's finding out all the stuff they try to sweep under the rug. Dark hair shining in the Cali sun. Melly on the case, so no